Today we will be reviewing powers and exponents as well as order of operations. So we're going to start with this half sheet, and it says to label the arrows with the correct terminology. So you have, you have 4 to the third power equals 64. So this here, if you recall, that number is the base because that is what is being multiplied over and over again. And as you can see here, this 4 to the third power actually equals 4 times 4 times 4, so that equals 64. So like I said, this is your base, so we're going to go ahead and write that. This is the base. So if that's the base, then up here we have our power or exponent. So I'm going to write exponent here, or we can say power, does not matter. So exponent or power. And then here is your answer, or since it's the answer to a multiplication problem, it's your product. So your product is your answer. Okay, so remember, exponents show repeated multiplication. So that's 4 times 4 times 4, which equals 64. So that's how many times the base is multiplied by itself. So this number here tells you how many times that number is going to show up. So let's move on down to this here. So here we're going to have exponential form. So that's this form here. Expanded form, which is like this here. And then standard form, which is your answer. So we can also say standard form. All right. So here we have 1 to the 5th power let's start over here actually. So here we have the expanded form, and we see that 6 is being multiplied by itself. So we have 2 6's here, so our base is going to be 6, which is right here. So our base is 6, and then our exponent or power is 2, since we see that number twice. So our exponent is 2, and then in standard form we're going to solve the problem. So 6 times 6 is just 36. Next, 1 to the 5th power. So in expanded form, we're going to write it out, and we need to see that number 1, the base, 5 times here. Okay, so we're going to write 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. All right, so that's our expanded form, and then moving on to standard form, that's going to be what that product is. So 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 is, of course, just 1. Okay, next we have the expanded form, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. And so we see that number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So our base is 2, and our power, how many times we're multiplying it by itself, is 5 times. We're going to multiply it 5 times. So that's 2 to the 5th power. And then moving on to standard form, so you have to multiply and solve the problem now. So 2 times 2, that's 4. Times 2, that's 8. Times 2, that's 16. Times 2, that's 32. So your answer is 32. Now 9 to the 3rd power. Expanded form, well, our base is 9, so we know we have to write 9, but how many? That's what this little number tells us. So we have to have that 3 times, so 9 times 9 times 9. All right, and then now standard form, so we have to solve it. So 9 times 9, that's 81, times 9, don't know that off the top of my head, so let's do that. Okay, so that's going to be 729. So that's our answer for that. All right, so these are going to be your notes. You keep these, or this, sorry. You keep this. You can use it on a quiz, any upcoming quiz that we have. So let's just set that aside, or you can keep it out, because we will have to work with exponents in our order of operations worksheet. So I'm going to move this here. All right. So here you have an abbreviation, or sorry, an acronym that you can remember, PEMDAS. if you've ever heard of it. So you start with parentheses, then your exponents, then multiplication, division, whatever's first, left to right, then addition, subtraction, left to right. So I'll do the first three with you just as an example to show you how it's done, and then you can complete the rest of it on your own. So we have this problem here, 9 minus 5 plus 1. So we have both addition and subtraction. So we're on this line here. And so we're just going to go left to right. So 9 minus 5, that's 4, plus 1. So here, I'll write it here. This is going to become 4 plus 1, which equals 5. So on the number 5 here, you're going to color this entire square the way that this is shaded. So that means I have to color the outer triangles like so. All right. Next, so we have 6 divided by 3 times 4. Again, we have two operations, two inverses, so it's just going to go left to right. Left to right. So 6 divided by 3 times 4. Starting on the left, 6 divided by 3, that's going to be 2. So 2 times 4 equals 8. So find the number 8, and let's shade it just like that here. So let's shade all of that. Okay, so like I said, I'll do one more with you here. So 5 plus 2 times 9, we have addition and multiplication. So addition and multiplication. So it looks like we have to do multiplication first, and then we can add. So I'm going to rewrite 5 plus, and then 2 times 9 is 18. And then so you're just going to add now 5 plus 18, which is 23. So on the box 23, you're going to shade it just like that. Okay. So hopefully that reviewed a little bit more for you so that you'll understand better and you'll be able to solve this on your own. Just remember that you have to start with parentheses, whatever's in the parentheses first, and then within the parentheses you still have to do exponents, multiplication, division, and then addition and subtraction. So what I mean by that is, let's take a look. Some of you may have this, some of you may not. So 1 plus 2 times 3 is, and all that's squared, and then divided by 7. So we have parentheses first, so let's look at what's in the parentheses. So within the parentheses, you can ignore everything else for right now. So within the parentheses, you have addition and multiplication. So you're going to have to start with multiplication. Okay, so let's just solve this one together real quick. So we have 2 times 3, and that's 6. So I'm going to rewrite 1 plus, and we know that's 6, and I'm going to keep my squared and divide by 7. Okay, so again, you're going to ignore everything else because you still have parentheses. So you have 6 plus 1. So you have 7 squared divided by 7. Okay, so this number inside becomes 7, and you can keep the parentheses on here, but we know that it's going to be 7 squared, 7 to the power of 2. So we can just drop it and just write 7 to the power of 2 divided by 7. So 7 to the power of 2, that means 7 times 7. So I'm going to multiply 7 times 7, because that's my exponent. I'm going to do that first. So that's 49, and then divide that by 7. So 49 divided by 7, that equals 7. Okay, so, sorry. So hopefully that made some sense. If not, if you still need help, please just raise your hand, and I will be more than happy to help you. So we're going to go back up to 7 and shade that in. All right, so we did 4 of them together. You will have plenty of time to finish it off. So you have only 21 more to solve and then shade it in, and then your picture's going to end up, or this is going to look like a picture in the end, kind of like a pattern, not a picture. But like I said, if you have any questions at all, please just raise your hand. I will be walking around to make sure that you are staying on